Saturday night in Vegas, Terence Bud Crawford dominated Canelo Alvarez en route to becoming the new undisputed super middleweight champion, moving to 42-0 in his career and doing something that no one in history up until this point has achieved, and that is becoming a 3-division undisputed champion. He's the first male in history to do that. He beat Canelo by unanimous decision, 116, 112, 115, 113, 115, 113. I had it 116, 112 for Crawford, 9-3 Crawford, and that is just... It was just an incredible performance by Terence Crawford, because before this performance, there was a lot of question marks on Canelo, whether it was his inactivity, and the biggest one being him moving up 14 pounds from his last fight, but 21 pounds since the last time he was undisputed champion at super welterweight. And the third was people would complain about his resume, because besides the dominant finish against Errol Spence Jr., Canelo's or Crawford's record, that is, wasn't the best. He didn't have the best resume. He didn't beat many former champions. He didn't beat many box office superstars, but all of that goes away now, because like I said, he has done something that no one in history has done. He's undisputed in 3 different divisions. He is a 42-0 perfect record, and if you want to say he's only had 2 massive fights in his career, one against Spence and now against Canelo, he's knocked both of them out of the park. He's delivered 2 of the most special performances under the brightest lights that we have seen in the last decade or two, and he is now the face of boxing. He is now the number 1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world. Although Alexander Usyk and Inoue have great cases to be made, they are great, dominant, undefeated champions as well. They don't have the accolades that Terence Bud Crawford has. He didn't just beat Canelo Alvarez, he dominated him. He made it seem that he was the bigger guy and that Canelo was the smaller fighter, and the opposite, obviously, as we know, was true. Canelo was the natural 168-pounder. Canelo was the guy moving up 14 pounds, and it didn't look like that through a couple rounds. Crawford's confidence continued to gain, and he continued to be just fight a more aggressive fight, and he was the guy bringing the fight to Canelo. Canelo was the guy that his output just wasn't high at all. Crawford threw nearly 200 more total punches in this fight. He outlanded him 115-99 in total punches, and although Canelo did land 13 more power punches in this fight, he held Canelo to 31.9% accuracy with power punches, which was his best that someone has held Canelo in his previous 12 fights, because he landed an average of 46% of his power punches in his last 12 fights before this one. That just goes to show Crawford's greatness and the level that he is at, and he proved truly that he is the pound-for-pound best fighter, meaning he moved up multiple divisions in his career, and he proved that he is the best. And although Canelo has had a fantastic career, I am a little bit disappointed in his performance. I just don't think he was active enough. I don't think he was aggressive enough, and I don't think that was the best version of Canelo. Canelo had so many iconic moments throughout his career, but during the last 3 years since he lost to Dimitri Bivol, we haven't seen that iconic and the legendary version everyone's grown to love of Canelo. And that just might be behind him, and it's that simple. That does not take away from Crawford's performance, but Canelo does have 3 losses in his career: against Dimitri Bivol, against Floyd Mayweather, and against Terence Crawford. And you could start to make the argument that when he fought his 3 toughest opponents, he just came up short. This has been a theme throughout Canelo's career, and it's just a testament to, on this night, on Saturday night, Crawford's greatness and how great he is moving up the divisions. As I mentioned, becoming the first ever 3-division undisputed champion. There's no doubt in my mind right now that Terence Bud Crawford's the best boxer in the sport, and He has officially silenced all the doubters. Nobody can say a bad word about him ever again. He is officially an all-time great, a guy that will go down in the history books forever and being remembered as one of the greatest boxers of all time, regardless if he continues to fight and whatever he accomplishes in his future, which if he does continue, I think he has more great things in his future, but it's not necessary. Right now, Terence Crawford could retire today, and he is one of the best boxers of all time. And overall, this broadcast was just phenomenal. You had Max Kellerman with Andre Ward and John Anik leading the way on commentary. One of the greatest commentary trios I've seen in a boxing fight in many years. Each guy was just phenomenal. Kellerman and Ward brought tremendous insight throughout the event, and Anik, for I believe his first time that he's caught a boxing fight, was just spectacular. Great to see them. The show also had a cleaner and smoother flow to it. There wasn't as much time in between, which I loved. Callum Walsh defeated Fernando Vargas Jr. in the co-main event by unanimous decision in a rather kind of not the most exciting bout, I'll put it that way. But the third fight from the top could have been it was the most competitive, and it was a flat-out war. Christian Billy and Lester Martinez had a split draw, and those two guys, from the second the bell rang to the end, just went to war. Toe-to-toe, both guys just were slugging it out, and it ended due to draw. I thought and Billy did enough to get the victory, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see them run it back in the future. But what are your guys' thoughts of Canelo losing to Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford becoming the new super middleweight champion of the world? Do we think a rematch could be in the future? Drop down below what you think. I think a rematch will happen actually in the next couple months because it's too much money to be left on the table. Canelo made over $100 million in this fight. We don't really know how much Crawford made. Supposedly he said he only made $10 million. Over 70,000 people in attendance at Allegiant Stadium. The numbers on Netflix are still yet to be determined, but I imagine it would be over 20 million at the very least. But those are my thoughts on the massive boxing card that was Terence Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez on Netflix this past Saturday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Ryan Wohl, and I'll see you next time.